Hey, how is it going everybody? My name is Stevie Wonderkid and welcome back to Rate My Ride number 5. We are finally back with another episode of the Rate My Ride video series, and I'm really sorry for the delay in this video, guys. My life has just been so hectic and busy over the course of the past 3 months, but I'm really happy to be getting back into the swing of things with YouTube again. And even though I was away for quite a while, I still have been working on some longer term videos in that time, and I'm really excited to share those with you guys over the course of this summer. Now, in addition to that, the channel ended up growing from 9,000 to 14,000 subscribers while I was away, which is absolutely insane, and I'm so thankful to have everybody's support even during the time that I was away. Seeing all of the positivity come my way was super nice to see, and I really do appreciate you guys. Now, moving into today's video, we're going to be doing a quick recap of the submissions that were made for Rate My Ride number 5 back in March. So we ended up voting on the theme of Euro builds in my Discord server, and we got 84 submissions in total, which was actually the most that I'd ever gotten for an episode of Rate My Ride. So because of that, this video is going to be a little bit different than the normal episodes of Rate My Ride. First off, I'm going to be giving some feedback on my top 10 personal favorite builds from this round. These were all submissions that really stood out to me, and I really wanted to talk about these 10 in specific. And after that, I'm going to be showing pictures of all of the other submissions that we got, so that way you guys can go to the poll linked in the description and in the pinned comment to vote on your favorite build. So in the future though, the number of submissions for Rate My Ride will be capped to 20, so that way I can keep pumping these videos out consistently. And as always, instructions on how to join my Discord server and make a submission for this series are in the description if you're interested. So with that being said, let's now go over my personal favorite top 10 builds from the submissions that we got. Also, do keep in mind that I'm going through this top 10 list in no particular order. This is going to be entirely unranked. And as always, I want to give a massive thank you to all the participants who submitted their ride for this episode. So kicking off the list of my top 10 favorite builds from the submissions that we got is Retro's Ubermax Sentinel Classic, and he went for a super clean street and stance build with a lot of OEM Plus style modifications, including some BMW inspired wheels, which I love. One thing that really stood out to me about this build and really sets it apart among the rest was the pink interior. Even though normally it wouldn't fit on a lot of cars, I think it's super creative in this respect because it matches up with the pink STD badging that's kind of lore friendly in a way, and overall it's a really clean and classy build. I absolutely love it. That pink interior, man, such a cool addition. Would never think that would ever look good, but I think he pulled it off really well. Next up, we have Darkvoid's Ubermax Sentinel Classic, and he went for an aggressive street and stance build, and I'm absolutely loving the period correct mesh wheels with the white faces, which match up with the white accents on the livery. I actually also really like the mint green paint as well. It's just the right amount of contrast with the racing livery without looking too crazy or loud. Now, normally I wouldn't go for carbon body panels, but I think it adds really nicely to the race and rally inspiration for this build. Overall, super aggressive and probably one of the most unique Sentinel Classic builds that I've seen. Next up, we have Shaq's Ubermax Zion Classic, and this is a beautiful race-inspired build. I love the fact that he went for the white primary color that matches up with the livery. I also think the white turbofan wheels really fit that classic race inspiration perfectly. In addition, the car looks great when it's lowered. It's overall an amazing build. It's just the right amount of extra stancy inspiration in addition to the racing theme, and I wouldn't change anything about it. Next up, we have Zero's Lampadati Pigalle, and this is probably one of the most unique stance builds I've seen, and this is mainly because of the two-tone paint with the bluish green primary color. This is a super unique choice, but actually I think fits the era of this car really well, and I also am digging the Japanese inspiration with the wheel fitment and the small chrome 3-spoke tuner wheels. The Pigalle already looks amazing, and I think Zero managed to make it look even cooler with some cool Japanese flair, which I absolutely love. Next up, we have RNB Man 92's Dubauchi Rapid GT Classic, and this is one of my personal favorite builds, mainly because of the mint color combined with the interior. It creates this really nice and elegant look, and I'm also liking the smaller chrome mesh wheels because I think they fit in really nicely with the rest of the chrome trim on the car. Now, the only thing I would change is maybe getting rid of some of the exterior modifications like the hood bulge, the front lip, and the windshield banner. I think they kind of take away from that elegant look, but those are really the only small things that I change. Overall though, this is a beautiful build. Next up, we have Young2 ZZZ's Ubermax Sentinel Classic. Now, even though the pictures weren't the best, if you look closer into the finer details of this build, you can see that it's super clean. Now, this is actually a lot like Retro's Ubermax Sentinel Classic that we looked at a little earlier, because this is another cool like resto mod type build. I'm absolutely loving this metallic color scheme. I actually don't know what this like bluish pearlescent is. All I know is that it's a really discreet but very beautiful and deep color. I'm also a really big fan of that cream interior. It plays into the elegant look really really well, and it also contrasts nicely with the rest of the car, so you can really see it. It really kind of pops. I'm also a big fan of the wheels. They are a bit bigger and more modernized, but they definitely fit that street look really well with the gold fascias and the chrome dish. Now the only thing that I might get rid of is the louvers in the rear, but beyond that, I'm loving the simplicity of this build. Next up, we have Thought Patrol Captain's Fister Comet Retro Custom, and this is a very realistic and race-inspired build. I'm absolutely loving the color scheme for this build because I love that there's an even mix of the black, red, and yellow aspects to match up with the German flag on the livery that he chose. I think all of the other aero editions as well are on point with that race inspiration for this build. It's also nice to see a race-inspired Comet Retro Custom. Normally, these cars aren't modified too heavily, but I think this is a really nice change of pace and very well executed. It's an aggressive build, but overall very realistic and clean. Honestly reminds me of a build I do, so props to you, my guy. This thing looks awesome. Next up, we have Top Secret R35's Weenie Issy Classic. This is another really cool and aggressive track-inspired build that really stuck out to me. So once again, like we saw with Thought Patrol Captain's Comet Retro Custom, I'm really liking that coordinated color scheme between the green and the black aspects on the exterior and the interior as well. There are a lot of really cool exterior additions for the Issy Classic that most people kind of overlook, but I think that all of the modifications that Top Secret R35 chose for this build really play into that aggressive track weapon style really well. This is probably one of the most unique Issy Classic builds that I've seen. Next up, we have Yayo Rozu's Ubermax Sentinel Classic. I'm sorry if I butchered the name, by the way. Now, even though this is another Sentinel Classic build, I really couldn't ignore this one. This is simple and elegant and absolutely beautiful. It's got a clean exterior with a few nice OEM style bits with the front lip and the rear spoiler, which really complement the look of the car and really don't destroy the lines either. They're very discreet and very clean. I also love the cream interior like we saw with Young 2 ZZZ's Sentinel Classic. It kind of fits that elegant look of the build perfectly, and it also calls a lot of attention to it because normally interiors are like a shade of brown, gray, or black, but it's nice to kind of contrast that with the cream. It's a very nice look. In addition to that, I think the wheels are a great match to the car because they're not too big and the mesh style looks at home on a BMW E30 like this, and this is by far one of the cleanest and most realistic Sentinel Classic builds that I think I've ever seen. And last but not least, on my personal top 10 favorite cars of this round of submissions is Arca's Fister Comet. Now this is a very clean stance build, but I absolutely love the color choice. It looks like it's this metallic bluish gray color, and I think it really contrasts nicely with the bronze faces on the wheels, and I think the chrome lips adds to that overall clean look. The only thing that I'd change about this build is maybe just getting rid of the arch extensions that they have on the fenders. I think it takes away from the lines of the car, but this is really just a small nitpicky thing. People really overlook the look of the original Comet, but I think it's still a beautiful car, and I think Arca made it look even better. Very simple and clean and very well executed. Alright guys, so those were my top 10 favorite builds from this round of submissions. So now I'm going to show pictures of all the other builds that we got, so that way you guys can go and vote in the poll, which again is going to be linked in the pinned comment and in the description down below. And I really hope you guys enjoy all these builds, and thanks again to all of the participants for submitting their rides. So that will wrap up all of the submissions that we got for this round of Rate My Ride, and if you guys made it all the way through to the end of the video, I want to thank you so much for watching. Once again, I know this video isn't like a normal episode of Rate My Ride, but I did want to make sure that I showcased all of the submissions that we got in some way. So in the future, I'm hoping that with the new rules for the series that I talked about at the beginning of this video, that all of the Rate My Ride episodes are going to be released way more consistently, and as it turns out, submissions for Rate My Ride number 6 have already been completed too, so I'm hoping to get that video out as soon as possible. I want to thank you guys all again for watching and for all of the support even when I was away. It feels so good to be back to making YouTube videos again. I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one.